Wind over a dry graveyard. Faint bugle playing in the background. A cough. Then silence. They buried him in a cheap wooden box. No flag, no honor guard, no one to salute. Just two funeral home guys in wrinkled suits and a priest who'd never heard his name before that morning. The town barely noticed. No obituary, no photo, not even a line in the paper. Just another old man gone. They used to call him Captain Crazy. A joke, a whisper passed between diner booths and bar stools. He'd show up at the VFW hall, sit in the back, and drink ginger ale like it was scotch, then start telling stories. He said he fought in places most people couldn't find on a map. Laos, Angola, Nicaragua. He said he wore no uniform, no dog tags, no name. He said his team had no name either, only a number. 6. People laughed. Special forces? They'd ask. He'd smile. Something like that. Someone once asked him how many missions he'd been on. He took a long sip from his glass and said, "You don't count when they don't exist." They rolled their eyes, told newcomers not to listen. He's just a lonely old man who watches too many movies. Someone once found a fake medal in his jacket, the kind they sell on eBay. That sealed it. Liar, poser, fraud. But he kept coming, sat alone, drank quietly, told stories. He never got angry, never argued, just smiled and said, "Someday, someone will listen." And then he died, in his sleep, in a rental trailer behind a mechanic's yard. No family, no service, just cremation, a pine box, and a name nobody remembered, until the second box came. 3 days later, a black SUV pulled into the funeral home's parking lot. 2 men in dark suits stepped out. They said nothing, handed over a sealed military container. On the top was engraved, Department of Defense. Confirmed deceased operative, tier red, Eagle 6, clearance ID, 47R9, Hunter. Inside were 6 medals, 2 of which didn't officially exist, and a letter. The funeral director opened it slowly, hands trembling. To whom it may concern, the remains of Operative John Walter Dempsey, alias Captain Crazy, are to be buried with full honors under Federal Statute 52A redacted. Due to the classified nature of his service, official recognition was delayed pending authorization. That authorization has now been granted. He served 42 years in off-record military and intelligence operations spanning 5 continents. His record includes, but is not limited to, rescue missions, counterintelligence, POW extractions, and nuclear asset retrieval. He saved hundreds, possibly thousands. His silence was his contract. He honored it until his death. Respectfully, Commanding Officer, Tier Red Division, United States Department of Defense. The funeral director called the town hall. The mayor, the sheriff, the VFW. Within hours, word spread like wildfire. The man they mocked was real. Worse, he had been watching over all of them for decades. They organized a second funeral, this time with an honor guard, a flag, a crowd. Nearly the whole town showed up. Old veterans cried, young soldiers stood straighter. People whispered apologies to a closed urn. The honor guard fired 3 volleys. A young bugler played taps with tears in his eyes. A folded flag was placed on the podium. Nobody claimed it, no family, so they left it on his seat at the VFW bar, where he used to sit, alone. A week later, the diner he always visited hung his picture. Below it, a plaque. He warned us. He told us. We just didn't listen. John Walter Dempsey, codename Eagle 6. The man we called Crazy was just too real for us to handle. Then the real twist came. One of the medals, unfamiliar to even the most decorated veterans, was analyzed by a retired general. He made a quiet phone call, then booked a private flight. The next week, 3 men arrived. One wore a white naval uniform with no name tag, one wore a plain black suit, and the third, older, taller, stood silently until the ceremony ended. Then he walked to the microphone and said this: "When you operate in the dark, when you're sworn to secrets that never make the news, you carry the weight alone. This man carried all of ours. I can't tell you what he did, but I can tell you this: I'm only alive today because of him. He didn't lie to you. He just lived a life you weren't cleared to know." The town stood in silence. From that day forward, they stopped calling him Captain Crazy. They started calling him the Last Shadow. No one knew what that meant, but every soldier in the room nodded. Today, his ashes rest in a marble tomb built just outside the VFW. A new memorial bench sits beside it, and every year on the day he died, someone, no one knows who, leaves a single red coin on the bench, same kind used in covert ops to mark a debt repaid. They used to laugh at him. Now they lower their heads, because some heroes don't wear medals in life. They wear silence, and they keep their promise, even when no one else does. You ever met someone like that? Someone no one believed until it was too late? Drop their name in the comments. Let the world remember them while it still can. Because sometimes, the loudest truth is the one whispered by the one we doubted the most. Subscribe to Old Glory Legends Tales. We tell the stories they tried to bury. Until next time, if you ever hear an old man talking nonsense at a bar, maybe sit closer and listen harder.